Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Dona Kappmeyer, and I am going to be your host for today. I'm very excited to have our special guest, Brett Christoffel, on our show. Brett is the founder and CEO of All Y'all's Foods. Today, we're going to speak with him about his journey to get to where he's at today and the challenges and successes of owning and operating a business. If this is your first time on our channel, please be sure to like and subscribe so you can get notifications when we publish new content. Well, Brett, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you on.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, Donna.
You betcha. This is going to be fun, and I'm really excited for the audience to learn about you and what you have to offer.
Fantastic.
So let's get started. So let's talk about you and let's talk about what's this business about and how did you get started in it?
Okay, cool. So I was born and raised in Dallas. I've lived over different places. Moved back to Texas in '99 and have stayed since. Like most everyone else I know, I grew up hunting, fishing, on a meat-centric diet. And then I realized and learned after attending the Institute for Integrative Nutrition a lot of things around health and diet. And I've always had an odd relationship with food. And because it was more of a soother, comforter, that kind of thing. But I realized as I learned more that there were opportunities to improve one's health simply by shifting their diet. And I don't mean from just junk food and sodas to salads and so on, but more about what were the ingredients, what was actually in the food. And then I realized I loved a cow like I love a dog, so I stopped eating meat. That was been over a decade ago, and yes, my protein
Wow.
level's fine. And
Wow.
then shortly thereafter, I learned that beef was our second largest export, and I was like, well, I love a cow, and that bothered me. So I'm like, are you going to complain about it, or are you going to change it? And I'm like, well, why don't I offer people an option that provides? Because if you think about meat, whether it's a ham sandwich, turkey sandwich, hamburger, steak, from a T-bone to a filet mignon, it's about chew. It's really about chew and flavor, of course,
Hmm.
and protein, because everyone wants protein. I get it. So let's replicate the flavor and chew, but we'll use plants instead. So as a result, you trade out the saturated animal fat and cholesterol for fiber and phytonutrients. But more important than anything is the flavor and chew. And so I started its Jerky all in May of 2018, and we've since grown across the country and in 10 countries in Europe. And we support Rowdy Girl Sanctuary here in Texas that allows people to submit their animals to live out their full lives rather than going through the standard process. And so that's what I do. And that's pretty much how I got here in the shortened version anyway.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. So totally getting off of beef and then
Yeah, all
transitioning
animal, all animal products.
all
Yeah,
animal products.
all meat, and then all animal products about 8 years ago.
Fantastic. And what has that done for you health wise?
Let's see. So I've dropped over 100 pounds.
Nice.
My cholesterol level's perfect. What's interesting is my protein level, my calcium level, perfect. And I don't supplement, and I don't consume them. Because the fact is most people aren't aware that all plants are complete proteins. People worry about what's a complete protein. They're all complete in varying levels, so you need to mix them up, but they're all complete proteins. The one thing that's missing from a plant-only diet is B12 because B12 is fed to animals. That's why it's in their flesh. And so we do supplement through B12. I use nutritional yeast, which is a cheesy flavored yum. Trust me, it's delicious. And as a result, my B12 level is fine. But improved sleep. Uh, what most people don't realize is meat can take hours to digest. You kind of get that heavy feeling.
Hmm.
Plants take about 30 minutes. So that's one of the reasons we call our product the Smarter Jerky because it doesn't give you that meat brick feeling. It boosts your energy and it provides the prebiotic fiber provides satiety. So you stay full, feeling full longer. And so it's improved on all fronts. My health path.
Very good. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. So that would have required like to find something like that, probably required a lot of research and development. So how did you go about, going down the path of finding something that tastes good and is
Right.
a good replacement?
Well, the good news is again, kind of a weird journey. A couple of years before this, I had read that a raw vegan diet is actually a very sustainable and healthy diet for the human body. And I was like, well, what the heck are you talking about? And now I still ate meat and dairy, but I opened a raw vegan organic juice and smoothie bar in small town Texas. A couple ladies I know had a shop with a 1930 soda fountain. They said, "You want to do a coffee shop?" I'm like, "No, but I'll do a juice bar." So,
Oh,
excuse me. So I opened that and I got really good with the dehydrator, kale chips, energy rounds, jerky, different things, making different things. And then when the time came up that I had changed my diet and I wanted to do something, I was kind of ahead of the curve. But I needed to work with flavors. A lot of products, especially when we compare ourselves to beef jerky, have a lot of sodium because sodium drives cravability. It also drives thirst, but it drives cravability. So we wanted to back off of too much salt. But it was a matter of making dozens and dozens of formulas, the recipes. But once you start making 100 or 500 or 1,000 pounds at a time, you call it a formula. And it was just dialing in the flavors. But I knew that if I led with a lot of plants, essentially seasoning, that is where we could get the taste buds without all the salt and all the sugar. So like our prickly pear teriyaki jerky leads with a ginger and prickly pear flavor instead of added sugar and a lot of salt. And in fact, we're reformulating all of our products to have about half the amount of salt that they used to have. But it was just a process of working with different products. What did I like the chew of? Because I wanted to replicate the chew and flavor. Flavor is easier than chew. There's a
okay.
lot of products out there that you can get and you eat them and you're like, no, this is spongy or mealy or, all these other things that aren't close to meat. And so I ended up landing on whole non-GMO soybeans because they're one of the highest in protein out there and complete protein. And it's good for the human body. In fact, blue zones in the world are where people live about 10 years longer than everyone else, healthfully, not, up in a wheelchair, but healthily. And beans are a primary part of their diet in
Wow.
almost all of them. And so it's supported by a lot of people who know a lot about health without any agenda.
Very good. So you mentioned about going to market and then expansion. So tell me kind of with a different product, a very unique product, how
Yeah.
did you go to market and how were you able to market yourself to be able to expand into different areas?
It was really interesting process. In the very beginning, people were like what's because we don't use the term plant-based anymore. It's plant protein.
Okay.
But people were like, what is that? And we're like, imagine instead of feeding the beans to the cow and then taking the cow and taking it from the cow, you just send the cow on vacation and you go right to the beans and then you make
Okay.
it. And people were like, but how do you make it chew like this? I'm like, we crush it, we cook it, we stir it, we extrude it, we marinate it, we bake it. Again, I know it seems like witchcraft. It's not. It's actually just basic science. But what happened was in the world, and this was August of 2019, Burger King came out with the Impossible Whopper.
Yeah.
So I always set up at the state fair and would talk with people and sample with people. And after, because they spent a lot of money on those ads, people knew what it was. So it was a matter of getting into the market, and then others helped lift us up, if you will, just from brand awareness. But again, when people realize that it chews and the flavors there, and especially as some of us get older, we care about the numbers because the cholesterol numbers climb when you continue to put cholesterol into your body. Our bodies naturally make plenty of cholesterol. We don't need to add it. And so here's a chance to have that experience, but not push those numbers up, whether it's sodium, uh, cholesterol, or saturated animal fat. So it's been a process that um, just takes time. And some people are absolutely not interested. They won't even
Mm.
try it. And it's like, Well, I won't get into what I really think, but it's it's like it's a very clean product compared to the other. It's such a clean product and a clean process. So it's just understanding where people are at because I remember at one time I would have been like, "What the heck?" In fact, the first time I heard the term Meatless Monday, I laughed out loud because I was like, I couldn't even think of a meatless snack, and why wouldn't I want to have meat? So I get it. I totally get it. So I understand where people are at, and that's fine. It's just give it a try, and go from there.
Very good. So you've been in business for a while. Where do you see this business going in the next 3 to 5 years?
Just continuing to expand in more retailers and more direct to consumer. Because I've bootstrapped it for the most part thus far. We do have one investor. He's actually a vascular surgeon in Dallas. He's
Nice.
been doing this for 20 years, and he invested in us. We don't pay him to say good things about us. He invested in us because he realized the advantages of what it is we're doing for people. He's also our medical director and a board advisor.
Okay.
But the thing is as we grow, we're not focused on the plant-based space so much as the jerky space because you got 5% of the audience, maybe 15% of the audience, and then you got the rest. And that we're focused on the rest because we're like, give it a try, and if we can meet that flavor and satisfaction and it actually supports your wellness much better than the other, why wouldn't you? And so direct to consumer will continue to grow on Amazon, doing TikTok lives. We're going to get back into that here pretty quick. So selling through there and then select retailers. A lot of retailers are more of a marketing play than a profitable play. I don't know how closely tied in you are with retail and how it works, but that's why we've held off. And so we haven't even talked to a lot of the big retailers because it doesn't make sense, except HEB because they had a contest and we came in six out of 830 companies. And so we're in about 80 of
Wow.
their stores. And grateful for our relationship with them because they're really great to work with.
And
But we'll
they're
just
right here in San
continue to.
Antonio. Yeah.
What's that?
I said they're right here in San Antonio, so
Yes.
they're massive
Yes.
here.
Yes, they are. They're the hometown team in Texas, and we've also expanded into 10 countries in Europe on
Wow.
Amazon. So we'll continue to go to places where we can drive sales because one of the things about the product is it's a great grab and go snack. You're in a hurry, you're driving, you're camping, you're hiking, you're doing whatever out in nature. It's very convenient, but you can also top it on salads, baked potatoes, pasta, and you can cook with it. It's a total protein replacement. In fact, I went yesterday to a late lunch, early dinner with my wife, and I got a big, amazing plate of veggie fajitas, and I brought some prickly pear chipotle jerky and added it to it, kind of stirred it up, and it was like having my own meaty fajitas with lots of really good veggies. So it's a very versatile product. So that makes it easy to expand.
Very nice. Are you looking to expand beyond jerky or you want to stay in that space for a while?
Yeah, no, we've already expanded beyond jerky. We have our bacony bits and our cheesy bits, and they were number one meatless bacon on Amazon for years. We had to reformulate. There were some supply chain changes, and so we're currently reformulating the cheesy bits and the bacony bits. And so we're in that area, and then we have all different flavored or all different styles of presenting meaty products in different forms in the jerky set, as well as, we've got uh, think of a hamburger helper, but plant-based.
Okay.
We've already formulated those, and so we've got a lot of different areas we can grow into. It's just what makes the most sense, and it'll require some more input from external sources. But we have a lot of places to go outside of jerky. But jerky is our main focus because it is so different and so good.
Awesome. Fantastic. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
So in
Thank
this
you.
journey, you betcha, in this journey, you had to have made some mistakes along the way. What are, one
What
or two
mistakes?
major things that that stand out for you to say, you know what, I wish I would have done things differently, or here's not what to do.
Um, I would offer that I have found that people um, in anywhere, people, some are more honest than others, and I've realized that there are times I spent money on services or support that never happened.
Okay.
And I wish I had not trusted individuals or their companies to do what they say they were going to do. And that's very seldom. It's only been a couple of times. But at the same time, I know people who've had a lot more work, a lot less favorable experiences. So I don't have any complaints about it, but I did learn lessons. And that was, make sure that every person, whether they're an individual as a consultant or a corporation, uh, are credible before you put a penny in it.
Yeah.
And so that would be my only thing. And it's not like I got a complaint about it. It's just people need to know that there are a lot of people out there, or there are at least a couple that aren't there to do what they say they're going to do. And so I would say that, but most everyone I've worked with has been amazing. I mean, just
Fantastic.
just amazing. So
I think there's Ronald Reagan who said trust but verify. So
there you go.
yeah.
Yeah, and even if you verify, verify again. But yeah,
Verify
yeah,
twice.
yes, yeah. So that would be it. That would be it.
All right. Thank you for that. So, as business owners, there are people that we have been influenced by or have guided us, or resources that we have reached out to help us get to where we're at today. Are there any individuals, particular individuals that you would say highly influenced you, or books that you have read that have influenced you to get to where you're at today?
Yeah, I've had many mentors over the years, some really great ones, and some that were amazingly successful in their careers with the largest corporations, but they'd never done a startup. But they were still helpful. I'm still grateful. It's just you can't unless you've done a startup and built it, you can't relate and you don't know the paths a lot. But the one book that stands out that got me on a journey of understanding my mind more was by an author named Michael Singer, and he did The Untethered Soul. And it's about our relationship with our voice and our mind and what it is and what it's not. And I wish they taught it in schools. So while that's not exactly a business book, there's so many business books
Yeah,
out there. And
yeah,
I'm sure there's some better than others. Most of it's been learned by doing. But the thing is I will take input from different people because I know I don't know what I don't know. So that keeps me curious, and that's the way I always want to be. I never think I've got all the answers, but the Untethered Soul, I highly recommend. He just put out a new book, at least the audio version I know of, and he's answering over 200 questions, and it's called uh, Wisdom Untethered, and it's the author answering questions for people around who practice using the book and how things work for us, and it's been a life changer. So I'm giving the credit there.
great. Thank you for sharing that. Michael Singer.
Yes, the
Fantastic. Thank you for
untethered
sharing.
soul.
The
Hmm.
Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Thank you for sharing that.
Of
Um, you
course.
know, yeah. So, what are one or two things that you would like to share with the audience that they just may not be familiar with, or you really want them to know to understand your business?
I would offer that. What do I not know? I guess it would be that plants have all the protein and calcium we require. Animals are not needed. Um, and I'm just trying to show people a way of enjoying them in a whole new way. Still have the experience because no one wants to go with the experience or the protein or anything, but still have the experience. And being a mission-driven brand, a portion from every bag we sell goes to Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. But if it's
Nice.
sustainability is a thing for you, you're like, hey, Earth, let's go easier on it. We use less than 10% of the water, land, and fuel to produce our proteins compared to beef.
Wow.
So sustainability you can't have without plant proteins. I mean, you just can't because the disparity. When it comes to something that people may not be aware of, when it comes to animal protein, you have to, on average, the numbers do vary, you have to feed. and input about 30 calories to get 1 calorie back from after you process it. So it's 30 to 1. And
Hmm.
you look at all the water and everything else it takes to grow those calories, to get those calories in. It just doesn't make any sense. Did it make sense back in the 1850s when people didn't have grocery stores? Yes. But the fact is there's a better way of doing it. It's kind of like you remember dairy milk. Milk used to be milk. And then
Yeah,
they got
yeah.
low fat, and then they did made a couple changes. But then plant milk came in, and people didn't stop drinking milk. They just drank smarter milk because they could get the milk experience without the cholesterol, without the saturated animal fat, and they could get the calcium they were wanting and all the other things depending on the product they were taking. So we're finally just evolving our product like they did that with dairy milk and saying, look, you can have the experience, but you can have this, and it benefits the humans. The animals sure don't mind, and then the planet. So everybody wins. And so that's what I would want people to know, that there are options that drive better results for everybody, every living thing.
Very nice. What is the best way for folks to get a hold of you or be able to purchase your products?
We have a website, allyallsfoods.com. We have a presence on social media. You can find us pretty much everywhere. As far as, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. And we're about to get onto Pinterest. But yeah, I would say our website. We're also available on Amazon, and you can find a store locator on our website if you want to see if someone in your area carries it. Like I said, we're not in any big chains other than HEB, but we're in independents all over the country. And if you have any questions, reach out through the website. I'm always happy to answer them.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Brett, for sharing your story. This has been fantastic, and definitely this is life-changing and a whole different consideration of how we consume food and what we consume as far as food goes. So this
Absolutely.
this is a Business Spotlight series with Dona Kappmeyer along with Brett Christoffel from All Y'all's Foods. Please be sure to like and subscribe so you can continue to see our great content. Brett, thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you so much for having me, Don. I really appreciate it.
You betcha. Bye for now.